Hey, this is the third painting in the series towards this exhibition, and on this one I'm using a very limited palette because the subject matter of the universe can easily become very much of a muchness, so I have to be quite selective in how I do these paintings. This is going to be just burnt sienna orange, a touch of green and black, only three colors, a very limited palette. And as you can see there on the right, this is a picture taken from James Webb telescope. It's very subtle, it's very bit of green in the middle, as you can see in some lines, and a very soft, evocative sort of atmospherical painting, which I'm trying to do in this one. Keep it very quiet and very relaxed. But the initial stage, the painting is going to be a little bit crude, so I'm not going to take very long in just putting my first impressions down. Here are a few lines to emphasize the detail, which I will get a lot more involved in once the first session has dried and I go back to it. For now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to put down the colors to get the tonal values and the hues right, and the greens in between, and then let the whole thing relax, and just for a week or two I can come back to it. That's it for now. Now I'm just going to go into it a little bit more into detail. See, it's very wet, and I'm just pushing the paint around. There is a little bit of a sort of a purpley color in the black, and then in the white areas in the center you'll have these greens, which now are rather crude, but as the paint settles the greens will soften, and when I start mixing it in, just want to have a hint of green. I want this whole palette to be quite low key when the painting's finished, and something you would have quiet in your area, almost a sort of a point of meditation as such, and very understated. And this initial stage is just really big open spaces where there again the paint runs. I just have to keep drying it and pushing it in and sort of get a little bit of some kind of what can I say, structure and control into the paint, because I want it to be quite wet here, as I do with all the paintings. Only linseed oil and oil paint, as I've mentioned before, so therefore the drying time takes a very long time, and I'm working simultaneously on about 5 to 10 paintings a time, because this will take about 2 weeks to dry. Oh yes, the center is going to have a lot of white in it, not a lot, but a sort of a white highlight. So I'm putting some white, thicker white in here into the whole mix, just so they settle, so I do have a nice light area to work with when I revisit this painting in about a week or two. And this being the third painting, and that's about where I'm going to leave it. Here I'm just pushing around the paint, and you'll see there I've got a cloth, so I use a bigger brush, wipe it with a cloth and keep the brush very dry, pick up the paint, let it settle in nicely, so I can go into its slumber for 2 weeks, because the linseed oil does take a while to dry, and it has to be nice and dry before I go into the next session, because otherwise it's just going to become a complete muddy mess, and you don't want that. Especially, that's it until we get back to the next one. Thank you.